Hi there. The best traps are arguably the ones that can lure the world's best players into the quagmire of self-destruction. In this trap, in the French defence, the former world champion Anatoly Karpov, as well as my local GM Alex Finkel, both walked into this trap and had to suffer the indignity of a cruel and somewhat embarrassing defeat. So this is called the Karpov Finkel Debacle in the classical French defence Steinitz variation. After e4, e6, d4 and d5, white plays knight c3, black knight f6, and now the pawn is pushed, the classical variation. e5, knight drops back to d7, usually in the Steinitz I believe f4 is played immediately. Here we're going to see knight dropping back to e2, common idea to free the c-pawn. After c5 and c3, knight c6, and now f4 is played. Queen b6, the queen is active, potentially hitting b2 as well as supporting an attack on the pawn on d4. So that's defended by knight f3, and after c takes on d4 and c takes on d4, f6 by black challenges white's strong central pawn, and maybe in many variations wants to open up the f-file for the rook. g3 by white supports the pawn chain and facilitates the bishop to come out to g2 or to h3 and then to castle. But now after this move bishop b4, this position appears in my database 140 times, and quite incredibly the vast majority of the white players, including Karpov and Finkel, managed to start to self-destruct from this position. Well, the obvious move here, the no-brainer move, is bishop d2. However, that's close to being a losing move. And white should really play knight c3 here with around equality. After the natural bishop d2, black is almost winning after f takes on e5. Let's have a look at some of the variations. If f takes e5 by white, then castles now is hitting the knight. And where can the knight go? Hasn't really got any good squares to go to. And if bishop g2, the logical developing move, defending the knight and hoping to castle, that's going to be met by knight d takes on e5. And all of a sudden white is totally busted, because if, let's enter the moves, knight takes on e5, black will play knight takes on e5, because if takes, we've got queen on f2, which is a checkmate. So going back to this position after f takes on e5, if white would have tried not f takes on e5, rather let's try this variation, d takes on e5, then this continuation is probably best for black. Knight to c5, aiming to play knight d3. That's going to be checkmate. That's embarrassing. And if white defended with a move like knight c3, then the knight can jump to e4 with a mate threat on f2. And this again looks devastating for white. Black is certainly winning in this position. So this has been a trap in the French defence, classical Steinitz, and it's called the Karpov Finkel Debacle. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.